All TUG events and speaker presentations are available in high-definition download from ethymarket.com. Good evening, anyone and everyone. I'm back again. It's morning in Australia, afternoon in North America, and evening here in Europe, or Morocco, where I am. And it has been pretty much of a mind-blowing day. I don't know how many of you have been here for the whole day. I know there's a few of you who have been. Yeah, it's been a whole evening or whole day of one thing after another, of dots and little pieces of the puzzle falling into place. Ancient history. Obviously, not what we were told it was. And not even remotely what's in the history books. The more we discussed all of this, the more pieces tumble around and you go, whoa, wait, it's not just maybe one little piece that's out of place or two little pieces out of place that don't match up with history. No, it's kind of like the whole puzzle has nothing to do with anything we were taught in school. Isn't that interesting? History will be written by the victors. And the question I ask is, who are the victors who've been writing our history? And I think that the perception is becoming kind of clear, isn't it? We look at things like, our 6,000-year history, which is so religious based, completely and utterly religious based. And yet, if you've been following along, it's become very, very clear that 6,000 years doesn't even crack our history. It's just the tiniest slice. And even that seems to be a whole lot of wrong. So, if you've been watching Transpicuous News, we've been talking about the destruction of ancient artifacts. And we've been talking about the convenience with which, terrorist groups like ISIS are taking over ancient cities and then just demolishing them under the flimsiest of excuses that don't even stand up to Islamic law or religious edict. So why? That's been the big question. Why would they feel the need to completely and utterly destroy the city of Nimrud? Could it be that perhaps it's a great big giant sore thumb sticking out there that has or had a whole lot of information that opened the book to perhaps having to reevaluate everything we thought we knew about history? The city of Palmyra is another one. This is a city that not only is it rich in ancient history, also in more modern of the Roman history. A city that had been impeccably kept with its standing columns and its incredible carvings and temples. And again, is it being destroyed, wiped out because it holds another piece of the puzzle? We have cities all over Syria that we're not hearing that much about. Funny how Syria is being kept very, very quiet for the most part. Ancient cities that are what we would even biblically considered the cradle of civilization. And isn't it funny how these areas for the last generation and a half, maybe 2 generations, have been continuously under war, continuously, let's just say, made to be very uninviting. Now, I can remember back, and I talked about this during the show when Francis was on, when I was in Malta. One of my friends, her father was the Maltese ambassador to Egypt. And at any point in time, we could have gone. We could have stayed in the embassy. All we had to do was basically come up with airfare, and we could have had a tour around Egypt in a diplomatic car, the whole 9 yards. And I so wanted to do that. But there was a whole bunch of uprisings in Egypt, which made it inhospitable, let's say, for the idea of going there to visit. And that's been a continuation. And if you look at the Middle East, especially in the last 15 years, it has been pretty much kept completely inaccessible. If not through direct action, then through indirect, through the use of media to dissuade everyone. All those violent terrorist groups out there in the desert, you just don't want to be around there. Is it because maybe there's an awful lot of information coming forward right now? A lot of truth starting to come out. And therefore, we have to, or they have to hide the information. What if some of those answers are sitting right smack dab in front of us? Now, I've mentioned this before. When we lived in the Congo, 2 of Nick's foremen were from Syria. And they told tons of stories about Syria, tons of stories about the mountains and the caves, and the fact that there were so many hidden things, so many. And yet, who can go to Syria now to find those dots, to study those ancient carvings, or look for those hidden caves? Can't, can you? Yemen. Well, isn't that interesting? As we discussed before, purportedly the home of the Queen of Sheba's palace, may be the final resting place of the Ark of the Covenant. Not only that, also was home to one of the oldest libraries in the Middle East, one of the oldest universities pre-Islam, a science and mathematics university that was very conveniently bombed. As Dr. Sam said, all over the world, countries don't want to talk about the pyramids. No. I mean, that was just so ridiculous. The one government Asian minister saying, well, there can't be pyramids in Bosnia because there was no Egyptians here. Really? Oh, wow. What's your doctorate in? Crackjack box? Yeah, apparently. But the governments all over the world don't want you to know these things. Even in places like Mexico, where there already are completely uncovered pyramids that are famous, still the Mexican government does not want people to know just how many there are. And what about North America? Did you know that there were pyramids in the United States? Because I didn't. And yet it makes sense. I mean, they seem to be everywhere else on the planet. Why wouldn't they be in the US as well? And I'm sure they're in Canada. Why? When, as Dr. Sam said, Illinois, what a wonderful tourist marketing scheme. You'd be able to make millions, if not billions. Bring tourists into the United States to see their pyramids. Yet, even with a promise of that kind of money isn't enough to get them to admit they're there or uncover them. Why would that be? China. Now, I found it very, very interesting because just a few weeks ago, I guess it was like a few months ago now, we were talking about the ancient pyramid in China. The one that has, the rivers of mercury running through it. And therefore, they couldn't possibly, dig it out and excavate it because, there's mercury inside, and that would just be oh so dangerous. Because it's not like we don't have hazmat suits. Really. So what's the truth? It's very obvious that all these governments are hiding the truth. All these religious organizations hiding the truth. Could there be an alternative, an ulterior motive? Well, obviously there is. When you start finding temples and pyramids that are now being dated to tens of thousands of years of age, not, within that lovely 6,000 year biblical age that they would like to try and tell us is true. Well, wait a second. Kind of ask the big question. Well, what else aren't they telling us? It's all about the origins, isn't it? But also, not just about the origins, it's about when we look at the origins, when we all come together like we have today, and we talk openly about the little pieces of the puzzle and some of the big pieces of the puzzle, and we talk about the legends, the creation stories, and we start to see the common theme and the common threads that run through them. There's some big questions there. And that's why we do this, because those big questions that open up there lead us to the moments in time where we are now. Here we are now. Is it the end of the next cycle? That's what we've been looking at. And yet, it doesn't seem to matter where you go. The whole idea of cycles seems to be prevalent all over the world through all the cultures. Ancient technology, which is going to be one of our very next Untangled gathering events. Ancient technology. If the technology is there, was there, and operational, and perhaps is even still to this day operational, then of course the next question is, what do we need oil and gasoline for? What do we need combustion engines for? Why are they charging us for electricity when Tesla had it right and energy could be free and should be free? This is the now moment when all these questions are exploding to the surface, not just in each of us independently in our own little daily research, but in consciousness across the planet. I've never seen a time where this many people are asking the questions, and not just asking the questions, but looking for the answers and not accepting the answers they're given that are given by rote, that are given by, oh, well, this is what I say it is, therefore, that's what you have to believe. And people are saying, yeah, I don't fucking think so. This is the time, isn't it? The time answers.